Welcome back to the Bigger Than You podcast, and I'm excited to share today's episode with you as I'm speaking with one of my gorgeous former clients, Lizzy Delaney. You'll be hearing about the work we did together and how subconscious reprogramming has made a huge difference, not just for her in her business, but also in her family life and in many unexpected ways too. If, like Lizzy, you're done with getting in the way of your own success and are ready to benefit from doing this inner work so that you can feel so much calmer, confident, and safe in your business, then DM me over on Instagram with the phrase uplevel. Or if you're not on Instagram, no problem, send me an email with the same keyword uplevel. My email and IG handle are in the show notes. Welcome to season 2 of the Bigger Than You podcast, your go-to weekly podcast that blends energetics and mindset to help you do whatever it takes to bring your vision to life, whilst having fun on the way. I'm Jenna Holloway, your host and multi-award-winning intuitive hypnotherapist and mindset coach. My purpose is to help mission-led business owners and visionaries who want to inspire change by leading the way in a space that otherwise may feel unnerving and too difficult. This is Bigger Than You. Welcome back. Thank you so much for joining me again. And if you are new, welcome to this podcast. I am so happy to have one of my former one-to-one clients on the show today. And actually, this lady is very special. She came to work with me. We were in a group coaching program together where we were both clients. And she came to work with me via that. And then after our work, we just got really close. And so Lizzy is a really dear friend of mine now. But today, we've been meaning to do this episode for a long time. So today, we are just sticking to business and we're going to talk about the work that we did together and how it has benefited Lizzy and her business. Yeah, let's go from there. Hi, Lizzy.
Hi, so nice to be here. I can't believe we finally made the time to do this.
Yeah, it's been a while. First of all, Lizzy, could you tell our listeners, what do you do? What's your business about?
Yes, so I run a business called Love Health. And it is completely focused on helping women to overcome emotional eating, binge eating, and yo-yo dieting, but with a real focus on mindset and mental well-being and just feeling much better in themselves. It's not just about the food, it's about the kind of the bigger picture. So yes, that's what I do. And I absolutely love what I do.
Yeah. How did you come to do this? What's your, and also what is your why?
Ooh. Well, how did I come to do this? Well, I went through my own experience with a really negative relationship with food, eating disorders, and then a long time of really just trying to navigate my very messed up relationship with food after recovery. I'd recovered, kind of in the psychotherapist's eyes, but there was just these real remnants of bad behaviours with food and a terrible mindset towards myself and my body. And yeah, it was how I felt my life would be for the rest of my life because I'd been through the recovery. And then it was only when I went through my own real difficulty in my first pregnancy and afterwards that I really started to dig deeper into mindset work and really overcoming my own kind of struggles, that I really started to unpick everything. And that's when my food related issues really started to just kind of dissolve essentially. And yeah, so I turned the process of that into the program that I deliver now, the Happy, Healthy, Healed method. And it is massively, one of my clients called it a Trojan horse of a program because you feel like you're coming in to just heal your relationship with food, but you get so much more. And I suppose my why is because I've been there and because I know what an impact that has on people's lives, and not just their lives, their kids, their partners, friendships. It has such a ripple effect. I just don't want anybody to have to suffer and to believe that that's it and that they're just kind of stuck with that behaviour for the rest of their life. I want them to know that you can totally heal this, you can totally overcome it. And yeah, that's why I do what I do, because I know that essentially I can help them to the other side.
Yeah, it's amazing the work that you do.
Thanks, Jenna.
So I always say that you're only ever inside your own head. So you don't know any different of like what it's like to feel as somebody else. We've always got our own patterns and programs running. So we might know that we're an overthinker, for example, but we don't necessarily realize that there's an issue with it. And so what was it about your situation that made you realize, hold on a minute, it doesn't have to be this way, and you kind of desired support with your mindset?
I think the biggest thing for me was that I just felt like my business was just completely taking over every moment, every second of my life, and not in a positive way. It was really a really negative way. It felt very overwhelming. I had no trust in myself that this was going to continue. I just felt like all of a sudden it would just stop and that would be it, and it would be over, and I'd have to go back to working as a teaching assistant, and that would be that. I just had literally no trust in it. And I just felt like it was all consuming essentially. And I felt like one of the main things to me really was it was having an impact on how I was parenting my children, because I just wasn't being there for them at all. So that was a real driving factor as well.
Mm-hmm. So how did it feel to be in that place where your business was all consuming? Like, how did that feel on a day-to-day basis for you?
Feeling wise was just pure stress, nervous system completely dysregulated, tight chest, tight stomach, feeling nervous to show up in my business. I was afraid to sit. That was another thing that was really playing out for me, was I don't think I felt like a leader, and like I could use my voice fully to say what I really wanted to say. So I suppose it looked like me holding myself back a lot as well.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't confident in my own authority and leadership and expertise. What else did it look like? It looked like being really impatient with the kids, being a shouty mum, and I didn't want to be a shouty mum. Being from a kind of mindset perspective, what kind of parent you want to be, that you want to undo all the generational trauma with your own kids. And actually what I was recognizing that I was just repeating that pattern. So
it's hard when you're stressed, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's so hard when you're stressed to kind of like pull yourself back, and feeling just like I had to be on all the time. It looked like me messaging people until the moment I was going to bed, and feeling guilty when I hadn't messaged people back, and all of that kind of stuff. I was just constantly berating myself for everything that I hadn't done.
And was it exhausting?
Yeah, absolutely exhausting. And there was a lot of times when I just kept saying to my husband, I just can't be bothered with this anymore. I just want to give up. It's too much. It's too overwhelming. It's not fun. It's taken over our life. What's the point? All of that kind of stuff. And it was just completely exhausting me in my day-to-day life, and just felt like there was no reward for what I was doing.
Would you say that you felt unsafe in your business?
Yes, I did feel really unsafe. I felt like every message that I sent to people in my inbox, who'd inquired and things like that, I would be really questioning, like, is this the right thing to say? Yeah. Did I message them back in the right way? If they didn't message me back, I would be kind of like, I'd go back and look at their messages over and over again, because I'd be like, well, what did I say wrong to make them not message me back? And what have I done? And have I not done enough, like, to kind of convince them that it's the right thing? And sometimes I'd even, if they hadn't seen the message, I'd maybe like go back and delete it and rewrite it. And there was just a lot of that kind of going on. I also just felt as soon as somebody wouldn't message me back after a discovery call, or they said no, I would go into a bit of a pit of despair, really. I would feel like it was a direct reflection on me and my work. And also just, I would be like, oh, this is it. This is the end. Because that was the fear that I had. I don't know what that was about, but I just felt like all the good stuff would suddenly come to an end. And every time a discovery call said no, I was like, this is it. This is the end. This is where it stops.
Yeah, that's so hard, isn't it? It's just, and obviously know very well the place you're in now, and it's just so different. And how would you describe, what is it like in your business now after the work that we've done?
I mean, I think the first thing to mention is just how different I feel, because this is a really big thing for me, is how different I feel as a parent. I feel a lot more calm and a lot more present, and I'm actually enjoying the girls a lot more, which is just so, so nice for me. I'm able to not message people back instantaneously. I'm able to just leave them in my inbox and be like, right, well, I'm not working right now, so I'll message them back later. I feel I'm not kind of to and fro of, have I done this right? Did I do that discovery call right? There's no question in myself anymore. fully trust that I know what I'm doing. And if there is a misalignment with something, or say a few discovery calls haven't signed up, I'm like, I know why that is. It's because my energy's off. Like, it's not because I've said something wrong or taken the wrong action. It's just because I'm energetically, something needs to shift, or my mindset needs to shift in regards to something. And that's really empowering. And then I think the other massive thing is how safe I feel now. I'm very much like, I just know that there's more clients coming.
Yeah.
Even if I got 4 no's in a row, I'd be like, it's fine, because somebody is going to say yes.
Yeah. You feel good enough.
I feel good enough. I feel like the authority. I feel like the expert. I know that what I offer is magic. It's amazing. And the women who come to work with me, have huge shifts in their lives. And just because somebody's saying no is no reflection on me. It's a reflection on where they're at with how they feel about themselves, or how they feel about money, or whatever. And that's not my responsibility. And I know really, really in my core that more people are coming.
Yeah.
The right people are coming.
Yeah.
The right people, and that's fine.
Yeah, absolutely. And you are grounded, you are secure, you are empowered. So before, you will have intellectually known that the work that you were doing was life-changing, so transformational, and that, on paper, there was no disputing the fact that the work that you were doing was amazing. But the problem was you didn't feel that. And that's because of the subconscious reprogramming that we did. The way we feel is always traced back to the beliefs that we have, and the beliefs are in the subconscious mind. So this is why when you intellectually know something, but you cannot feel that, there's that mismatch, that is a signal that there's some inner work and some subconscious reprogramming to do. Because when you reprogram that to, I am absolutely good enough, regardless of X, Y, or Z story, I can rewrite that story in my mind. I can always feel good enough. I am always internally validated, and I am not affected by anything going on around me. I am always good enough. And also, your worth is no longer tied to what is going on in your business.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I don't feel like my worth is tied to my business anymore. I very much still feel like I am my business. Like, my business is me because I put so much into it and I love it so much, but there's no worth issue there.
Yeah, it's coming from a secure place.
Yeah, it's a really secure place. There's no worth issue at all there.
Yeah.
Which is really, really positive for me, because it means that things are a lot more stable. Like, before I worked with you, there were so many times when it was such an up and down roller coaster. And if somebody hadn't come back to me, that's normal in business, like for people to not come back to you, to ghost you, and to say no, like it's part of being in business. Like, it would really affect me. I would completely disengage from being with the kids and being with my husband. I would be looking at my phone constantly to see if they'd messaged me. I wouldn't be present if we were out on a day out, a Sunday, for example, and I'd done a discovery call with them on the Friday. I would be not present. I'd be focusing on that so much. Or if they'd said no, it would send me into a bit of a tailspin, and I'd just feel so rubbish about myself, questioning everything that I'd done on that call and everything that's said. And yeah, it was a lot. And, it was really affecting. It wasn't affecting my relationship at all. I've got a very solid relationship, but it was taking me away from my family, because
your life, you weren't present.
I wasn't present, and I was impacting them because my mood was so rubbish as well, which I don't want to do. Like, what's the point in running your own business if you can't be with your family and, be present and have fun and take that time for yourself? Like, that is the whole point, that we get that freedom. Yeah. So yeah, that's made a massive difference as well. There's no up and downness, and my mood isn't dictated to me by other people.
Yeah. Amazing. And what would you say, this might be sort of more subtle, but how has it changed how you are inside your business, how you are as a coach?
I think as a coach, I'm definitely more able to be not direct. That sounds like I'm being harsh. It allows me to be more honest with my clients without fear of upsetting them, I suppose.
Yeah. that makes for a better coach, isn't it? When you're not worried about somebody not liking you, because sometimes, especially in the line of work that you do, and also me, like I remember situations where I had to coach you in a way that you might not have liked, but you know, when you're a coach and you know the work that you do so well, you know the best thing to say, you know how to lead somebody in the way that's going to get them to reach their highest potential. And if your mindset is a fear-based mindset, you worry too much about, you know, not being liked or whatever. I'll pass it over to you. What would you want to say?
I think I was too permissive with my clients before I worked with you. You know, didn't want to upset them, didn't want to say anything that made them not like me or feel annoyed at me. Whereas now I'll say to them, like, I'm going to say it. This might trigger the F out of you, but let's just work through that once it happens.
Yeah.
You know, you're probably not going to like what I've got to say. And I also go live a lot in my Facebook group and really hold them accountable for the work that they're supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
You know, I really let them know that it's not me who's doing the work, it's them that have to do the work. And that's really empowering for them to take hold of and to do, because it puts all of the power and control in their hands, which is probably what they've been feeling a real lack of for their whole life. So that's really great for me to be able to, put out some lives that are pretty, well, they will annoy people. They will annoy my clients. They'll annoy my followers, because I'm essentially saying, you get to do this work. You get to be empowered. And I think before I was really kind of treading on eggshells with people and making sure everyone was happy and not annoyed with me. So I think that's probably been a massive shift in terms of what it looks like for me within the business. I'm much more confident at saying what I believe is the right thing to say.
Yeah.
Not holding myself back, not editing myself, showing up in a really raw way.
Yeah.
You know, because in the past I would have also been like, I can't show myself crying. I can't show myself having a hard day. I can't show myself not working out or not doing the habits, because I'm a health coach and therefore I should have everything in place and everything in the right way. And in reality, that's not reality. So now I'm much more happy to show up in a really raw way.
Yeah. And that's because at the root of it, you always feel good enough just as you are. And because you've got that belief now, you can show up exactly as you are and know that that is beneficial. You being your true authentic self you are the beacon of inspiration for so many people like that. And you don't need to hide anything, because you feel, it's not that you know, it's the fact that you, in your core, you feel good enough. And that's just amazing. Like, even if you don't have a business, get into that place where you feel that. It's just so empowering in hundreds of ways.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
So I'm going to just say, so if anybody doesn't really kind of know the work that I do subconscious reprogramming in several different modalities, main one being hypnotherapy, but it's not what you would expect if you went to an average hypnotherapist. I work a lot with the universal laws and intuition and things. So how would you describe it? Like, I've never asked you this, Lizzy. I'm really intrigued to know what you're going to say, but how would you describe the work that I do?
Oh, that is that is such an interesting question. I feel like it's so intuitive and bespoke to you, which is really powerful. Bespoke to you in the sense that you are I feel, the only person who does exactly what you do, which is amazing. But equally, when you're working with a client, the work that you do is completely bespoke to them as well. And what that allows to happen is that the work is exactly what you need in the exact right moment. So rather than coming into a hypnotherapist's office, for example, and just having that one modality as the only option, sometimes that can feel very like, well, that's not what I need right now, or that's not what I want to do right now, or I feel like there's something else that I feel would be better. And I feel like with you, because, you use energetics and intuition, and you will kind of meet me. You met me where I was at in that moment, and used, hypnotherapy and the other kind of modalities that you use to support me, whether it be mindset coaching or kind of visualization or whatever it was. Don't want to give away your secret. it was that, I think that's what I always loved about the sessions, and allowed me to just be really relaxed going into the sessions, because I knew that there was flexibility in the session for it to not. And I can remember sessions where I was in a really bad way because of things that I was experiencing at the time, and you being so responsive to that, in the sense of, do you feel like this will be the right thing? Or do you feel like, do you want to just do this instead? And there was also the scope for me to say, in the middle of us doing hypnotherapy, do you know what, Jenna, I literally can't even get my head in it today because my emotions are so high. And you being like, right, okay, let's do this instead. And then I would leave the session feeling so much better because I hadn't pushed myself through that. And I think with other coaches or, therapists, there would be a kind of a pressure to do that, because it's like, well, this is all I offer. Like, if I don't do this today, then what are we going to do? And I just loved that about the sessions, that flexibility, use of intuition, and it being just about what I need, meeting me exactly where I needed you to meet me that day, and providing me with exactly what I needed to work on that day, to allow me to get them shifts right there and then in the moment, to kind of really start just implementing straight off the back of the call.
Yeah, I remember a couple of times you messaged me like minutes after a call, like with some kind of transformation in terms of the energy. When energy shifts, stuff happens in life because you were subconsciously blocking yourself from something happening because of the way that whatever we were working on in our session, and stuff happens immediately, doesn't it? So
yeah.
And the other thing I was going to say, just off the back of what you were saying, is I could meet you wherever you were at, and you were always held and supported.
Oh yeah, so supported.
Yeah. And I never ever know what I'm going to be working on in advance. We never plan stuff because I always just meet you where you're at. And this is the intuition part of what I use. Like, we don't know where a session's going to go. Sometimes you'll just say something and I will know that's a program. Like, you wouldn't be saying that if that wasn't a subconscious program. So let's find where that is and reprogram that so that you don't feel this way. And sometimes it's just so fascinating. The way you're feeling in your business as an adult is so far from what you would expect. Like, the root cause of that is so far from what you would expect. And you would never know this because it's all buried in the subconscious mind. But we can find it, we can release it, we can create space so that you feel better, but space so that you can receive more in your business. Your capacity, your energetic capacity expands. And so opportunities pop in and new clients drop in, and you just evolve and change as a person.
Yeah, you really do evolve and change as a person. And I think one thing that, is really important for people to recognize is that, going back to what you said, the very first thing that you said, you always feel like, oh, this is just the way it is. I'm just going to have to handle it. And that's one thing that, it's not a bugbear, but when people say, oh, I'm just the type of person who, or I'm just a perfectionist, or I always have this like black and white mindset, or all or nothing mindset, or any of that kind of stuff, I always get really annoyed when X, Y, or Z happens. It's like, it doesn't need to be that way.
Yeah.
But when you're in it, you just feel like it has to be that way.
Yeah, you feel like it's you, but it's never you. Anything that's less than positive or neutral, anything that feels negative or heavy is not you. It's just a pattern and a program, and that is in the mind, and that can be shifted so that you don't feel that way. And it's amazing. The other thing I wanted to touch on is, even though I work with business owners, your business is not the reason I work with you. Your business will thrive because of the work that we do on you as a person. You as the person always comes first, because when you're in a better place, when you do your healing and you feel better, this is down to the energetic part of it. You're completely going to be vibrating on a higher frequency. And so therefore you're going to naturally be able to attract and manifest the experiences that you want to manifest. It's not about you're the human being and you have to do X, Y, and Z in your business and then you'll achieve this. It's so much more than that, with the energetics and shifting the limiting beliefs in your subconscious mind so that you can create whatever you want to create, but from a place of ease and flow and fun.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. It's got to be fun, because otherwise, why?
Exactly. Why are you doing it?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. What surprised you about the work that we did?
I think what surprised me was you. You know, when you sign up with a hypnotherapist, you think, oh, this is going to be hypnotherapy, like what we have in our head as what hypnotherapy is. And when we started working together, yes, we'd been in, our kind of coaching group together and we'd done a discovery call together and that kind of stuff. But I suppose when we got into the program and I really, really experienced you, and really started to get to know you, I was like, oh, it was so much better than I could have imagined because you weren't this
professional therapist
that I kind of had in my head.
Yeah.
And we're just so much more real and relatable.
Mm.
And that was surprising for me because it felt so much better to be real and raw and relatable to another person and to feel like you were like me, just
but I am just me, isn't it, in our world? Like I didn't know you like I know you now.
You're not playing a part. You're not playing a part or trying to meet this role of, and that was really, really special for me when I got in there. I found the work surprising in, the shifts that I felt. I think when you've heard about hypnotherapy, you think of it in a certain way. And so when you really do it properly and you really experience what it feels like, that's surprising because you then get off the call and have a different energy about you or feel a sense of confidence or really recognize that an old pattern has gone. And that's really, really powerful. And so it's surprising. Yeah.
It's hard to describe, isn't it? Because you literally feel different. You feel more confident or you feel calmer, like grounded, all of the things that these words that you hear, but it's hard to actually understand unless you actually experience feeling better, feeling different in your business. And then you're just like, wow.
Yeah, it's, when you think about, hypnotherapy, you'll think, I'm just going to, and even when you hear the words like calm and grounded, you can kind of get in your head that you're just going to be walking around like this ethereal being, like, I'm so calm and grounded. Like, no, it feels much more real than that because that doesn't feel, obviously when you're doing the hypnotherapy and other practices, you do feel that real sense of calm and groundedness. But in real life, the calmness, the groundedness, the confidence, the higher vibration, it feels very real and very, normal isn't the right word, but what I'm trying to get.
It is your new normal though, isn't it?
New normal, yeah.
Each time you do some work, you shift into a new normal because your subconscious mind has improved, like the patterns and the programs that have changed have been reprogrammed to feel better. And so you're not going back. So you're like, wow, this is my new normal. And then you just live your life feeling more confident all the time or feeling like your nervous system isn't triggered in your business anymore all the time or whatever it is. That's it. That's the new version. And then you just constantly grow and expand and just, make the changes that you want to make.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. I think we've covered a lot. I would just like to say, because I'm sure, like I know, I can see people's limiting beliefs very, very easily. And so I know that there are people who are listening, potentially don't know this for sure, obviously, don't know who's listening, but if there are people out there listening and they recognize that they desire this work, but they're just putting it off. Obviously, it's not as easy as like signing up for a strategy program or something. This is deep inner work and it's a big move to make. So it's understandable that you've got to feel really ready. But if there's somebody out there listening to this and they know their desire to feel better in their business and obviously in their life too, but they're sitting on the fence about it, what would you say to somebody in that place?
I would say, and this is so funny because I see you and what you do in the same way that kind of in the sense of what I do. Like you can't get what you next want without doing this stuff first. For my clients, they always come and say, but I really want to lose weight. And I say, well, you're not going to lose weight until you heal your relationship with food. It literally can't happen. And for you, and investing in your work and doing this work with you, it's like, yeah, you can invest in the strategy. You can do all of that. That's great because you think that the reason you feel the way you do right now is because you haven't got strategy. Well, I can tell you that when you have got the strategy, you will still feel all of the self-limiting beliefs playing a role in your life. they will still hold you back energetically. And so it's so imperative that you do this mindset work, the subconscious work, that will allow you to feel so much safer in your business and your life. And it will ripple out and affect so many different areas that you don't even know yet. And then you're going to get more bang for your buck with your next investment anyway. So I would say to anyone who's considering it, you've got to do it for yourself, because especially if you've got a pull, if there's something in you that's pulling you towards it, you know, if you're not yet kind of on board with manifestation and energetics, that is universal energy, just like nudging you in the right direction. You know, from when I very first was aware of Jenna, you know, on our group calls, just being so chill and not fazed by anything that was going on around her. And there was just always this kind of, I don't know, energetic attraction there. I was like, how is she just doing that? You know, how is she just showing up like that? It blew my mind, because I was like, well, I have to show up in this very certain way and have my question ready and say this, that, and the other. And that was obviously prior to working with Jenna.
What was I like then, Lizzy?
You were just so much more chill.
Yeah, rock up, don't know what I'm saying. But I know there's a question to come. And there
just let the question drop in.
Yeah.
The kids could be there and it would just be all fine. And I can just remember thinking, oh my gosh, like if the kids were there with me, I would be so stressed. I would be like, oh my God, get out of the room. You can't be in here. Like, you can distract me. And what are people going to think about me? And all of that kind of stuff. Whereas it's just this energetic pull. And I was like, I want a bit of that. Like, I want to be like that. I want to feel that sense of chilledness. Now I'm happy to show up on other coaching calls and the kids come in and just put them on my knee and whatever. And I've got a bit of that now, which I just love. And so that, I suppose what I'm kind of saying is, if you do have that kind of pull and you're like, that seems interesting to me, I would like that, you know, that interests me so much that I could potentially be a different way or anything, then go for it, because you're going to see massive shifts and changes.
Thank you. Yeah, it's the nudge, isn't it? It's the intuitive nudge pulling you.
Yeah.
One thing I just wanted to respond back about is that, you know, how so I think it's my equivalent of what I see you doing. Like, you show up on story saying, this is what I'm eating and it's fine. You know, like, do you feel this responsibility to share your relationship with food and how good it can be and how you can just be so chilled around food all the time? You show that because you're basically walking your talk, but you're showing what's possible. My version of that with, well, wherever, whether it's inside the group coaching calls or whether it's on my podcast or on Instagram, whatever, like, it's just, I feel this like commitment and responsibility, and it's not hard. Like, I just be myself. Like, it's amazing to just feel like you can just be yourself. But by doing that, it's showing people that it's possible to not have to feel like you ever have to feel to yourself. And I fuck up all the time, like literally all the time, like minor mess ups here and there, because I'm a human being and people do that. I just don't make myself wrong for it. And just everything is fine. Everything is fine because you're always fully supported. And this is what I try. Like, I just try and teach this and share that this is possible for you to just live the most joyful, mentally free life just by allowing yourself and giving yourself permission to be who you truly are, and knowing that that is totally cool. That is more than cool. That's who you are in this human body with this human experience to be. You're here to be you, and that is living in alignment.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And I think that boils down to just that you don't have to be a curated version of yourself to be successful.
No, absolutely.
You don't have to edit everything out. You don't have to show up perfectly and pristinely. You don't have to delete the stories when you think, oh, have I said the wrong thing? You can just put out there what you feel needs said in whatever way you need to say it. And that is perfect as it is. You know, you don't need to be that curated version of yourself to have that success.
Yeah. I always like to ask this question if we've got a guest on the show. So what is next for you? What do you want to experience this year in your business?
So much. But I think the main thing that I want to experience is just this feeling of receiving and being so much more slow and flowy and finding and really feeling that sense of ease. And just receiving more and more as the year goes on. And I see myself working with more and more people and holding space for, more and more women to come into my world. And then who knows, retreats and all of the other fun stuff. But for me, the main focus is just really receiving and being in this really nice, flowy energy with lots of spaciousness while still bringing in the clients and delivering a really great client experience.
Yeah, amazing. So excited for you.
Thanks
so much. Thank you so much for sharing and being so open about your journey and the work that we did together. I am sure it's been really helpful for the listeners. So also, if our listeners are wanting to find you and learn more about the work that you do, where can they find you?
They can find me on Instagram at love.health, and that is luv.health. And then they can find me on LinkedIn at Lizzy Delaney, Lizzy with a Y. So yeah, I'm there, and I am always just loving having chats with people in the DMs. So yeah, just DM me and we can have a little conversation over there. I also have a instant access masterclass called Heal Yourself Healthy that is about overcoming emotional eating and how to tackle that, how to kind of really overcome a negative relationship with food and really develop a really positive one within kind of 5-6 months. So yeah, that is a brilliant masterclass. It really offers a lot of value inside it to helping you really understand how you can do that.
Amazing. We will leave the link for that in the show notes as well, so you can find Lizzy and find her masterclass. Thank you so much, Lizzy, and see you next week, everybody. Thank you for listening to the Bigger Than You podcast with your host, Jenna Holloway. If this episode has been valuable to you, please share it with a friend or leave a review.